37a, Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, intimidating witnesses that have come for capital punishment. Ketzad Ma'amin Edim. How do we intimidate the witnesses that came for capital punishment? Al Eidei Nefashos. So here's what you do. And you bring them in, and you intimidate them. What do you say? Shema Tomru. You tell the witnesses, maybe you didn't see. Maybe it was like estimated. We'll see what that means. Like, the Gemara doesn't ask what's the case, but Shema Tomru Ma'umad. Maybe you didn't see 100% clearly. Like you assumed that Reuven killed Shimon, but you didn't see exactly. Or Umishmua, you heard Reuven killed Shimon. Or Eid Mipi Eid, another witness saw and told you. So you heard from the mouth of another witness. The common denominator being you did not see it. Or, you want to put all these, sometimes you put a doubt in someone's head and they start rethinking themselves. This is a good place to do that because you don't want the guy to get killed. Or, Umipi Adam Nama, maybe from a very trustworthy person, you heard that Reuven killed Shimon. Shema Iatem Yodim Shesofno Livdok Eschem B'Jush V'Chakira. Maybe you didn't know that Rash is going to inspect you with intense interrogations of Drisha and Chakira. So of different forms of interrogations. Or, have a Yodim, Shalokadine Mamanos. This is not like a monetary case. This is a capital punishment. Dine Nefashos, Dine Mamanos, if it comes to a monetary case, all you have to do is, Adam Nosin Mamanu Meschaperlo. That's you messed up and you caused the Reuven to owe Shimon money. So the way you do tshuva is, you give Reuven back the money and you've been atoned. Dine Nefashos, you should know though, capital punishment, if you make a mistake and we end up killing Reuven, Damo v'dams ra'osav teluyin bo ad sof olam. Your blood and the blood of your descendants are going to be hanging there until the end of time. Whoa. Okay. Shekain matzino. How do I know this? We found by Cain. Cain killed his brother. Cain harag as achiv. Interesting. He calls him his brother. Not doesn't call him Hevel. Interesting. Cain. Hevel, his brother.
Oh,
just interesting. Yeah.
Just called his brother.
Cain killed his brother. Okay. Shenemar, and what does it say? Kol demei. Demei is plural. It doesn't say kol the blood of Cain. It's right, blood. It's kol demei achicha tzoakim. So eino omer dam achicha ela demei achicha. What is the plural? Damo v'dam zeroso. Now the next part is just, I think, parenthetical. It's not what they're telling the witnesses, but once the Mishnah mentioned this verse by Cain and Hevel, we're going to mention another exposition of this. But this is not. We're taking a break now from the intimidating witnesses, taking a water break and coming back soon. So now, davar acher, demei achicha. What does it mean, plural, demei achicha? Shehaya damo mushlach ala eitzim v'alavanim. His blood was thrown on the sticks and on the stones. Okay, I have to get back to that. Now, back to the witnesses. So now they're telling. Now, after they scared the witnesses. Morning, Steve. After they scare the witnesses, now they're going to build up the importance of a Jewish person. It's one of my favorite parts ever. So, lefikach nivra adam yichidi, very, very important. Therefore, a person was created as an individual. Hashem did not create 100 men at once. He created one, yichidi, to teach you what? Meaning, why did Hashem create Adam Rishon? Why not create 7 Adam Rishons at once? I mean, he could have done anything, right? Right. So why? To teach you the teach you the importance of one person. Anybody who causes a Jewish soul to perish, it's malalav. It's as if ki'ilu ibed olam male. It's as if you destroyed an entire world. And vice versa. Whoever sustains, whoever saves one life of Israel is Malav Akasav. The verse treats you Ki'ilu Kaim Olam Male. So, yeah. So from one person, the whole world came. Why from one person, the whole world came from one person? It's to compare one person to the whole world. Right? The different Sfarim talk about how a person themselves is called an Olam Katan, or a mini world. We have so many parts to us from all different parts of the world, all different parts of the creatures that we're called an Olam Katan. It's interesting. Okay, so that's what you tell the witnesses. Now, Yeah, now I think the next part's once again a little bit parenthetical, but once we brought this up, we're going to talk about it. Umipnei shalom abrius. So now another reason it sounds like why Hashem created one person and not had the world come out through many people. Umipnei shalom abrius, to cause peace between the creations. Shelo yomer adam lechavero. Right, this happens with kids sometimes. Yeah. Abba gadol me'avicha. My dad's greater than your dad. This way we all came from one. So, at some point, so it's not going to save all the fighting, but if it's a good fight, they're going to go back on their family tree, and then they realize that they both came from the same place. So the fight will be over. So, okay, that another interpretation why Hashem created one person. V'shelo haminim omrim harbe rishuyos b'shamayim. That they shouldn't say that there are many domains up in heaven, meaning if he created 10 men, 10 people in the beginning, you'll say, oh, there's 10 different domains in the heavens. Each domain, each power up there in the heavens created another person. This way, it was one power created one person, and that was it. Okay. Now, another idea about Adam Arishon, ulahagid gidulaso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Another reason why we created Adam Arishon, only one, is to teach the greatness of Hashem. She'adam toveya kama matbeos b'chosem echad. So a person can, you have like those the stamps, right?
Yeah.
So you can
mince many coins.
Mince many toveya kama matbeos b'chosem echad. Kulan domin zelazeh. So they're all going to be similar to each other. You mince coins, different stamps, different minces. They're all going to be similar to each other. Umelech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu tava kol adam, every single person, b'chosamo shel adam arishon, with the same form. We're all the same form on some level, eyes, nose, ears, right? And yet we're totally different. Ve'ein echad mehen doma lechaveru. Not one person is ever similar to their friend. That's why Gemara Bracha says when you see 600,000 people, you make usually together, you make a special bracha. Special bracha. The bracha there is to bring out God's infinite wisdom. You see 600,000 different people. Everyone's different. Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
It's like a snowflake.
Yeah, exactly. Jules' next book's going to be "A Man Is Not a Snowflake." Yes. So
that's what they were calling the other slang term for people that couldn't take it and stuff like that.
Oh, snowflakes. So so now, since Hashem created each person with the same stamp, so to speak, the same mints as Adam Arishon, therefore, it obligates you to do what? Lefikach, kol echad v'echad, chayiv lomar. Some say chayiv Adam lomar. Therefore, each person, each person has to say, b'shvili nivra olam. For me, the world was created. Since we're all created differently, therefore, you have to say that I am as important as the whole world. So Rashi adds in, interestingly enough, and therefore I'm not going to let the world spiral down by doing an avera. Since I'm so important, look at me, the whole world. The whole world is since Adam Rishon was created, right? Compared one person is created, Hashem created one person, and the whole world came from him. Therefore, we see one person is compared to the whole world on a level of importance. Therefore, each person should realize how important they are. And Rashi then adds in, you shouldn't let your one avera, if you're thinking about doing an avera, don't let the world down spiral because you are very important. You have incredible importance to you. So the Shema Tomru. So now back to the witnesses. Turning the page. Shema Tomru. Maybe they'll say, "Listen, forget about this. I'm not testifying. I'm out of here. This is way too scary. They just warned me my blood's going to be there forever. I'm not doing this." Ma lanu l'tzara hazos. Sometimes you walk in the situation, then you're like, "Oh no, let me get out of here." But the witness are going to say, "Ma lanu l'tzara hazos. What do I need this for? All this grief. I'm not doing this.
Not what I expected."
Yeah, not what I expected.
There you go.
The halo kvar never, but too bad because the pasuk says, "Who ate a ra yada im lo yagid." If you're a witness and you don't come testify, that's an avera. So the nasav, you're going to bear sin. So not testifying is not an option. Now the Shema Tomru, Okay, but maybe they'll still say, "Malanu lechov b'dama shel zeh." Like, why should we go and why should we be the ones to obligate, to convict this guy? The halok kvar namar. Listen, it says the ibud rishayim rina. The death of the rishayim does bring a tremendous joy. There are different halachas even about avelus about rishayim. If you know the guy's a full-fledged rasha, you don't sit avelus on him. I believe it's this verse. I have to double check, but I think it's this verse. So that's a happy thing. So really, you're doing something positive. You're removing a rasha from the world. Okay. Hopefully that will calm them down and they'll continue with their testimony. Tana Rabbanan. So we said you cannot be me'uma. You can't estimate. You cannot estimate that Reuven killed Shimon. What's in case of estimating? Kate said me'umad. So the following case, Omer Lehen, the witnesses say, Omrim Lahem, they say like this, the court tells the witnesses, Shema Kachra Isim, maybe, so they're claiming, Reuben killed Shimon with a sword or a knife, whatever it is. He said, maybe it was the following, Shirat Achar Chaver Lechorva, let's say, maybe it was you ran after your friend into a chorva is a ruin, thank you, into a ruin, Viratzta Macharav, and you ran after him, and then what happened? You walked into the ruin, and you saw Reuben holding a knife and Shimon on the floor bloody. And then the blood is bubbling up. The harog miparpar, and the dead person is like a chicken without head. He's like he's shaking. What's twitching. Okay. So what's that case? So you walk in. Now, is it clear as day to you that Reuben killed Shimon? Probably. You walk in. Reuben has a knife. There's blood on it. Shimon's on the floor twitching. But that's not testimony. You never saw the death. You need to see. So the court asked the witnesses, maybe that's what you saw. So im kachra isam, if that's what you saw, lo reisim klum. You saw nothing. It doesn't count. Okay. Tanya Amar Rishon ben Shadach Ere ben Chama im lo reisi echad. So I'm going to see in my consolation if what im lo reisi echad shirat achar chaver lechorva. Viratz the achar. I saw someone run into a ruin. I ran after him. I saw he was holding a saif, he was holding a knife. The damo metaftef, and his blood was bubbling, wasn't it? Dripping from the knife. Thank you, dripping. The harug meparpar, and the dead person was twitching. Was what? Was worse?
They like twitching.
Okay, yeah. He was moving around. The amarti lo, and I said to him, Russia, mi hargo lazeh. Russia, who killed him? So, o ani, o ata. Either it was me who killed him, which is not true, or it was you who killed him, which is probably true. Aval ma'esa, what can I do? She'ein damcha masar b'yadi. Your blood has not been given over to me, meaning Hashem didn't let me see you actually kill Shimon, so I can't go and avenge your blood. Sharei amra Torah al pi shnayim edim yumasames. On two witnesses, you can kill a person. You need two witnesses. Hayodea machshavos yiparim oso ish shaharges chavero. The one who knows everybody's thoughts, yiparim oso ish, should go and avenge from that person who killed his friend. I mean, I can't do it. Hashem didn't let me do it. I wasn't here with somebody else. We both didn't see the killing. But Hashem, who knows that you killed him, he should avenge your blood. Amru, they said, what happened? Lo zazu misham. So they didn't move from that area, that ruin, until Acheba Nachash v'hikishu mes. A snake came and bit the guy who presumably killed his friend and killed him. Oh, so that was the consolation the guy got. So now, says the Gemara, hold on. Someone who kills someone with a sword or a knife, your death in return is going to be a snake? No. V'hayi bar nachashu? It's not bar nachash. Now you might wonder, well, let's see. V'hamar Rav Yosef v'chein tani Rabbi Chizkiya, Rav Yosef said, or the Academy of Rabbi Chizkiya said, miyom shechara Beis HaMikdash. Interesting, when the Beis HaMikdash, from the day that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, afal pi shebat la Sanhedrin, we lost our Sanhedrin, and therefore we lost the body that could execute capital punishment. Afal pi shebat la Sanhedrin, but arba misos lo batlu. We lost the group, the body that can execute capital punishment, but the four punishments still that wasn't nullified. That's still around. Lo batlu. What do you mean? V'ha batlu. 37b, smack in the middle.
Oh.
No problem. So what do you mean? Of course it was nullified. There's no more stoning, and there's no more burning, and there's none of these things. And once we lost a Sanhedrin, we can't do it. So Gemara says, no, ela din arba misas lo balu. You're right. The exact 4 forms of capital punishment you don't get, but they're still intact. You're going to get them in different forms. Interesting. So now, mishin is chayiv skila. Whoever, God forbid, is obligated is in the stoning punishment. Oh, nofel. So what's going to happen to him? Oh, nofel minagag. Oh, chayiv derasto. He's going to either fall off a roof or an animal's going to eat him. So, mishin is chayiv sreifa, the guy that is supposed to get burnt. We're going to see there's going to be chapters and chapters about these different punishments and what you have to do to get these, if you're so lucky. So mishin is, just kidding. Mishin is chayiv sreifa. Whoever gets the burning punishment gets burned. What did he say? Yeah. So I was shocked Jared's not there. Like, how did he stay in his seat here? They did it. But not Jared. They need you here.
Have a job that I'm locked in. I wish
You're
I
locked.
could go.
So that person was chayiv streifa. So now, oh nofel b'deleka, sounds like a person's gonna die in the fire. Oh nachash machisho, or a snake's gonna bite you. So you see, a snake is the punishment for streifa. Now this guy in our story, he killed someone. He's gonna be chayiv, I believe. Let's see. Mishin is chayiv hariga. That who's gonna get the sword. So, o nimsar lemalchus, either you're going to be given over to the authorities, o listin bayin alav, or the bandits are going to come upon you. Mishin is chayiv chenek, the one who's going to get strangulation, o tovei benahar, o meis bis runchi. Either you're going to drown or meis bis runchi. What's runchi? Some kind of disease? Choking. Say again?
The throat became, you still suffocate.
Yeah.
The throat became constricted. The person can't breathe.
Mm-hmm. So either way, the guy that killed somebody, who I believe is chayiv, not strangulation. He's not chayiv for the snake biting him. So says the Gemara, you're right. He had a different aveira that he had on him. He had 2 aveiras on him. One, he killed somebody, and one he killed, and one he did something which obligated him in the burning to get streifa, to get burnt. And therefore the rule is Damar Mishin is chayiv shtei misas bezdin nidon b'chamura. The one who's obligated 2 of the capital punishments will get the stricter one. So that's why the snake ended up biting him. It wasn't for his death that he caused somebody, but it was for something else that he was chayiv streifa. Okay. Back to Me'umad, this idea of estimating. You can't, I'm pretty sure Reuben killed Shimon because I walked in and he had a bloody knife and Shimon was dead on the floor. That doesn't count. But it's mentioned in our Mishnah by Dinei Nefashah, by capital punishment. It says the Gemara, by Dinei Nefashah, who the low Amdina and Habadin the Mamadas Amdinan. It sounds like only by capital punishment you cannot estimate. But by monetary cases, this estimation would be valid to obligate somebody money. So who's that like? Kiman Rabbi Acha. Who's Rabbi Acha? The Tanya. Rabbi Acha Omer. So, I don't know much about this, but a camel is mating with another camel, and apparently when they mate, they do a lot of kicking, and through its kicking, ended up killing a camel next to it. Okay, so next time you're at the zoo, you could ask. So Rabbi Acha Omer, Gamal, yeah. So Gamal ha'ocher bein ha'gmalim. So the camel is behind the other camels, meaning it's mating with the other camels. V'nimtza gamal harag b'tzido, and you see. So let's say Reuven's camel is the one that's doing the kicking, and now Shimon's camel got a nice kick and died. Yeah. So gamal harag b'tzido. So now you never saw Reuven's camel kill Shimon's camel, but you see Reuven's camel all kicking, and little Betty the camel next to Reuven's camel is dead. Right. That's a very fair assumption that Reuven's camel killed Shimon's camel. So now. Biyadua, you know for certain, Shizel Horgo, that for sure Reuven's camel killed Shimon's camel. It sounds like, according to Rabbi Acha, you can now obligate Reuven to pay back Shimon for his camel, even though you never saw. So this level of certainty does not work for capital punishment, but it would work for monetary punishment. If that would be true, then the Mishnah is like the opinion of Rabbi Acha, who says that sounds like so now. Said the Gemara is going to ask on that assumption that because something is mentioned in our Mishnah, when we intimidate the witnesses, that it's only not allowed by capital punishment, but it's allowed by monetary punishment. On that, the Gemara says, really? Aid me P8. What's the other form that you tell the form of intimidation you tell the witnesses? Did you hear something from another witness? So that is not going to hold true by a monetary case. You can't hear from somebody else. Reuven told me, who told someone else, that actually he owes somebody money. No. And that we saw at one point, it says, V'hatnan, is that really true by monetary cases? You say that estimation, evaluation is good. They talk about it. It sounds like it's one opinion in Kiddushin, the Ritva. Just interesting. Similar where this comes up is when your witnesses for a wedding. So there's a question. Do you need Eidei Yediyah, witnesses who know that he married the lady? Or you actually need Eidei Re'iyah, you have to see. So what's the case? You have the two witnesses, and you see Reuven putting the ring on his future wife's fingers. You blinked, you close your eyes, you open up, and now she has the ring on her. I think we say it's fine. There's one opinion. It's one opinion. So it's just interesting. Next time Jared speaks under the chuppah, you have what to say. You can bring in camels and knives and death would be great. And this couple should have a different fate. Okay, so I'm actually a wedding speech writer. Okay, so now by Dine Mamanos, distracted. Okay, 1 second. So by Dine Mamanos, do we say such a thing that aid me P8 is going to work? But we learned in the Mishnah, V'hatnan im Amar who Amar li. If the guy says, Reuven told me shani chayev lo. So who Amar li shani chayev lo? He told me that I'm obligated to him. So Reuven told me that so who's me? Shimon, I guess. So Shimon says, Reuven told me that I owe him money. So who Amar li shani chayev lo? Or Ish Ploni Amar li shehu chayev lo. Or a random guy told me that he's obligated to someone else's money. Lo Mar Kum, that's nothing. Ad Sheyomer, you need Reuven in front of Shimon to say, Shimon, I owe you money. Ad Sheyomer B'fanenu Hodelo Shu Chayev Lo Masayim Zos. So what do you see? Alma Afagav the Pasib B'dinei Mamanos. Afagav the Pasib B'dinei Mamanos. Amrinul Hu B'dinei Nefashos. Even though this is not going to fly in a monetary court, it's still mentioned as an intimidating factor to the witnesses. So you see that things in our Mishnah that are mentioned to the witnesses in a capital punishment, it's not that they can't be in monetary cases, it's just what we use to intimidate them. So Hachanami, even back to our case of evaluation, you have no proof that our Mishnah is going like Rabbi Acha, that in the case of Reuven's camel, kill Shimon's camel, that you'd be obligated. Just because it mentions it here, that doesn't mean that it's going to work in a monetary case. It just means that this is a form that we use to intimidate the witnesses, so that they should know that that they're dealing with a serious case. Even though it's not going to work in a monetary case, we still mention it. So you can have the same things that are going to be invalid in a monetary case and in a capital punishment case, but that doesn't exclude us from mentioning it to the witnesses, just to make sure that they actually saw what happened. Okay, so now, in the middle of the Mishnah, we mentioned that we tell the witnesses, just so you know, if you're going to end up saying something incorrect and causing Reuven to die, because you're bearing witness on him that he killed somebody, you should know your blood and the blood for your descendants are going to be hanging in the balance forever. And then we brought another thing about Cain and Hevel. I think it was parenthetical that his blood was spilled on the wood and on the stones. Okay. So now on that, about Cain and Hevel, Amar of Yehuda, Breder of Chia, Melamed. So more about the Cain and Hevel and Hevel story. It sounds like I think it sounds like it says plural. His bloods. Yeah, that's what it says. Demei achicha, the bloods in plural. So our mission used it for one thing. But Amar Rabbi Yehuda Bered Rav Chia, the son of Rav Chia, says the following: Milame Titusha Asa Kain. Obviously, these things you have to look it up in the commentaries what exactly the depth, the deeper meaning is. But Milame Asa Kain Behevel Achiv Chaburos. Kain made many holes, many incisions in his brother. Pitzios, other forms of bruises. Why? He didn't know where is the soul going to leave from. What this means, we have to examine further. Until he got to his neck. Okay. It's interesting. Our Mishnah said that the blood was sprinkled on top of the stones and the rocks. Here we're saying that from the day the earth opened up its mouth, the kibalto ledamo shel hevel, and accepted the blood of hevel, shuv lo pascha, it never opened up its mouth again. I know what you're thinking, Korach, we're about to ask, don't worry. Shenamar, as the verse says in Tehillim, miknaf haaretz zmira shamanu. I heard the song of the earth was singing, but only from the end of the earth, not from the mouth of the earth, because the earth never opened up its mouth after that one time. Tzvila tzaddik, also a deer for the righteous. How's it translated? A what? Praise for the righteous. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now miknaf haaretz. So it says miknaf haaretz, only from the end of the earth. Below mi pi haaretz, but not from the mouth of the earth. Oh, so you see that whatever it means that the ground is singing songs. All creation sing to Hashem. Perik Shira. It's all about that. But a song doesn't have to mean in our musical form that we know. But
It was a flat earth, so it
had an edge. Yeah. So now Esvei Chizkiah Achiv. So now Chizkiah, Rav Chia's Rav Yehuda's brother. So Chizkiah and Rav Yehuda are brothers. They're both the sons of Rav Chia. So he asked the question. It never opened up its mouth again. What do you mean? But Tiftach Haaretz Espiyah. What happened to Korach and his descendants? Swallowed them up. Amarle, no. Lira'a pascha, litova lo pascha. For bad reasons, it opened up its mouth. For good reasons, it didn't. Now, why is opening up your mouth to swallow Cain's blood, Hevel's blood, Hevel's blood? Why is that a good reason? So it sounds like because it's not going to be embarrassing to him. Swallows it up, it won't be embarrassing to him that his blood is there. I think. Yes, exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why that was a good thing. Okay. So fine. More about Cain and Hevel. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Yehuda continues, the son of Rabbi Chia. Golus, exile, mechaperes avon mechza. Exiling yourself atones for half of the Avera. Mi'ikarik siv, originally it said, Vayisi navinad. I don't know exactly what navinad is, but nad definitely means to move around. It's not is to shake. So navinad, you're going to be basically moved around to the earth.
It says wander.
Wander, yes. They're both very similar. So navinad, and then it says a little bit so siv, Vayeshiv aretz nod. It just says node and not na. So at least half of the wandering that he was supposed to get punished with was taken away by going into exile. So you had these big tzaddikim back a few hundred years ago. They would exile themselves. They would go somewhere with nothing for a few months, So instead of rolling in the snow, So Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda says, you can choose your yeah. So Rav Yehuda, Galus mechaperes shlosha dvarim. Exile atones for three things. Shenamar, as the verse states in Yirmiyahu. Now Hayoshiv Yirazos. So if you're gonna stay in the city, this is when I think Nebuchadnezzar was sieging Yerushalayim, and Yirmiyahu tells him, if you're gonna stay here, you're gonna yamos b'cherev b'rav b'dever. You're gonna die with the sword, with hunger, and with pestilence. The hayotze v'nafal elakazdim atzarim aleichem v'chayiv ha'islo nafshem l'shalom. If you go and give yourself up and get exiled to Babylon, to Bavel, then you're going to live. So see from here that if you stay, you're going to get three punishments. You get exiled, you're going to spare yourself of all these three. So, yeah. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, It's interesting. There's a medrash that says that when you go into your sukkah, it's like exiling yourself, and it atones.
Oh.
So no one thinks about sukkah that way.
Really?
Yeah. So okay, but it's also a form of exile. I guess depends on your sukkah, yeah. So Rabbi Yochanan Amar. So Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Galus mechaperes halakol. Exile. This is good for us to know. Yeah, we're in exile now. So don't think we're doing nothing here. We're atoning. Galus mechaperes halakol. Atones for everything. Shinamar koamar kosves ish hazeh ariri. So this is also by Yirmiyahu. So kosves ish hazeh ariri gover. Kisvas ish hazeh ariri. Gever lo yitzlach biyama. Kilo Yitzlach Mizaro Ish Yoshev Al Kisei David Umoshel Od Bi Yehuda. So who's this? This is talking about Yochnia Melech Yehuda. So it says about Yochnia Melech Yehuda. He says he's going to go childless. He'll never be successful. He'll never see any of his descendants are going to take the throne. And then it says Ubaster the go, but after he was exiled to Bava, what does it say? Ubenei Yochnia, the same king Yochnia. Asir, Bnei Yochnia, Asir shall seal Beno. So his son was Asir. It's the same person, it's two different people. Asir and shall seal, two different people. Asir and shall seal Beno. So what are these? So and one of those sons, I believe, took the throne. Meaning, no one was going to take the throne, but then when he went into exile, he atoned for his avera, and then one of his sons took the throne. Asir, why? Why is he called Asir? Asir is to be locked in. She'ibarto imo bebeis ha'asurim. His mother conceived him when she was in prison. Shalsiel, sheshaslu kel shelo kederech hanishtalim. That he was conceived in a abnormal fashion, the way people are usually conceived. Prisoner, yeah. It sounds like they were in a very tight prison, and they weren't able to have relations lying down, only standing up, and that usually doesn't conceive that way. However, in this case, it did. Yemiri she'ena isha mis'aber me'umad. We learn from here, or the tradition is that a woman does not conceive after relations standing up, only lying down. Vehinis abra me'umad, but she did. Rashi explains a very, very small prison. There's no place to lie down, and it sounds like Rashi says, look at Vayikra Rabbah, the Medrash goes into more detail about what happened. Okay.
Doesn't a seer kind of have a second
Asir? Okay.
prisoner? What's that? There's a second
Matir Asurim. To redeem
something
them.
positive, yeah.
Yeah, could be. Think about it. By the way, when something's usr, it's prohibited, right? What's usr mean? You're supposed to feel like you're locked. I cannot do this.
Oh,
You're locked in. Something's usr, not like, oh yes, it's like a nice thing. No, you're locked in. And it's mutter is from the word matir. You're unlocked. It's permissible to you, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Hebrew language, yeah.
yeah.
Davar acher shall seal. Another reason why it's called shall seal. Interesting having this name. Like how'd you get your name? Can't tell you. Look at the medrash. So davar acher shall seal. Shenishal al alaso. His oath was his oath was revoked. It was yeah.
Freed of his oath.
Freed of his oath. Thank you. So al alaso kel Zerubbabel shenizrabavel. Yeah, and Zerubbabel, what was his name? Zerubbabel, Shenizra beVavel. He was planted, he was conceived in Bavel. What's his real name? Mashmo Nehemiah ben Chakilai Shmo. But his real name is Nehemiah. Now I saw they talk about, is this Zerubbabel that we know? Is that really the Nehemiah that we know? Ezra and Nehemiah? I don't know. Some say yes, some say no. Then what does the Gemara mean? I don't know, more to say, but we're going to continue. Yehuchizkiah, these two brothers, Bnei Rebbe Chia, Havu Yasi Besudasa, Kame Rebbe, they were sitting at a meal in front of Rebbe, and they were silent. Velo Havu Ka'amri, and they don't want to say anything. They can keep quiet. What's wrong with that? Velo Midi. So now, Amr Lahu, so Rebbe said, Amr, he sounds like he told them, Agavru Chamar Dardik, he told his servants over there, why don't you give them some wine? Give some wine to the youngsters, that they open up their mouth. I want to hear. So they should say something. So Kavan the Ibasum is they got a little bit drunk, not a lot, just a little bit. However, it was enough to get them to talk. Yeah, Pascal v'Amru, and here's what they said. So you should know Mashiach's not coming until there's gonna be no more Nasi in the Jewish people. Now that was Rebbe, he was the Nasi. And so Ein Bein David Ba, the son of David, meaning Mashiach, is not going to come. Achi Yichlu, Shnei Bate Avos Mishon, to the two big houses of the Jewish people are eradicated. And who is that? The Eluhain Rosh HaGola Shebavel, the head auxiliarch, the head of the Jews in Babylon, and the Nasi Shebaret Yisrael. Now, Rebbe was the Nasi in Eretz Yisrael. He was the Nasi.
Mm-hmm.
So they told him, by the way, Mashiach's not coming until you're out of here. Right? So, Shenemar, V'haya, how do I know? It says in the verse, V'haya le'mikdash u'le'even, negev u'le'tzur michshol, l'shnei bati Yisrael, l'pach u'le'mokesh l'yoshev Yerushalayim. So, l'haya le'mikdash, we're going to have a base of mikdash u'le'even. When we remove these two houses from Israel. So, Rebbe's like, whoa, Amr lehen, banai, kotzim atem matilimli, you're like throwing, be'enai, you're throwing thorns in my eyes. I asked you to speak, and this is what you say. So careful what you wish for, yeah? So, Rebbe, this is a consolement. Don't worry. Yayin is nitan b'shivim osios. Wine, the numerical value, is 10, 10, and 50. 70. Visod, samech vav dalid, means secret. That's 66 and 4. That's going to be 70. So, famous line brought up by Purim, coming up soon. You should know, the sod nitin b'shem osios. Nichnas yayin yatsa sod. A little wine goes in, a little secret comes out. So don't worry. What do you want from us? These are the secrets, and they've now been revealed. So, Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Marukva, Amri la Amar Rav Chisda. So Rav Chisda says the name of Marukva, or some say Rav Chisda himself says, Darish Mari bar Mar. He expounded from Mari, the son of Mar. Okay, so now about the exile to Babylon. Vayashket Hashem al hara'a, vayaviyah aleinu, ki tzadik Hashem Elokeinu mishum de tzadik Hashem, vayishkel Hashem al hara'a, v'yavi aleinu. So, okay, one second, a little too fast. The pasuk sounds like Hashem's going to bring evil upon us because he is a tzaddik. Says Gemara, what? Because he's righteous, going to bring evil on us. What does that mean? It says in Tzedakah asa Kadosh Baruch Hu im Yisrael shehiktim golos tzidkiyahu the adayin golos Yechonia kayemes. We had two exiles to Bavel. One preceded the other. The one that preceded the other one was full of Torah scholars. So when the mass exodus ended up going from Jerusalem to Bavel, they came to a place full of Torah. So that was a big chesed of Hashem. He exiled us, but he didn't exile us to nothing. He exiled us to a place full of Torah scholarship, right? The Talmud Bavli. So, Dichsiv Bei Begalus Yechonia. It says in the exile of Yechonia, Hacharif v'Hamash. The verse says, "There's Kol Anshe Chayil Shivas Alofim." 70,000 people, v'hacharish v'hamazger elef. And what, it was plowed, v'hamazger elef. Charish, what does it mean plowed? Kevan sheposkin, hakol nasu kecharishin. So charish here is, we're learning to mean like a deaf mute. It was such scholarship in Israel that when they would open up their mouths, they were so much ahead of everybody else, and everyone became like a mute. You can't open your mouth. The guys, they're so knowledgeable in Bavel. So meaning the new people that came were like total mutes compared to the ones that were there already because they were light years ahead of them. Yeah, imagine being like a 10-year-old walking into like, I don't know, Rav Chaim Kanievsky's house and listening to the Torah discussion. You have nothing to say. Masker, so to close, to confine, what does that mean? Kevin shesogren b'halacha, shuv ein poskim. Once they decided something in halacha, it was closed and final. No one could argue with them. It's just showing you the greatness of the scholarship that was there when the mass exile took place. Some could argue by the Holocaust it was like that. You already had a few big groups of people from the late 1800s that moved to Israel that got the ball rolling. Yes, 48 they had to do a lot, but there was already things happening in the 40s during, so some could say like a similar kind of thing. They didn't get exiled from Europe with zero. Wasn't zero, okay, the ones that made it out. But America had already plants, right? There's plants in America. There are, I think, the most Jews maybe in the government history, at least when I did a report on this in World War II. Now they weren't so good for us. They didn't really, but America had already the seeds planted, and Israel also. Just interesting. So maybe not as much as this, but there was something that was there. Yerushalayim was there for hundreds of years. Strong group of Jews in the old Yishuv in Jerusalem. So you come all of a sudden, yeah. So now, even the Lechi and the Etzel and the Haganah that were there before we had anything in the 40s that were getting ready to establish something, which is interesting. Okay, so yeah, the Kama Hayu, and how many were there? There were these great people that were there, 1,000 of these unbelievable Torah scholars that were like the final say, and they were so much greater than everyone else. Ula Amar Shehikdim Shtei Shanim Le Vinoshantim. Okay, so it says in Devarim, when you get Vinoshantim, when you get old, when you grow too old in the land, Hashem is going to kick you out. Now, the word Noshantem is, Rashi goes through the whole thing, is a numerical value of 852. 852. However, Hashem exiled us at the year 850. Because a few more years, we would have been, more bad stuff would have happened. So he preempted us getting too old in the land by 2 years. Yeah. They say, why not by 1 year? Because Gematria, you always have that one. Yeah. So Livino Shantem. So yeah, that's what, and Rashi does the math for you. How do you get this number of 850? So they were exiled at the end of 850 years. How do I know? Because the first Beit Hamikdash stood for 410 years, and it was built 430 years after we left Egypt. Right, it was it itself was. What did it say? It was 480 years. Sorry, it stood for 480 years. It stood for 400. So just do it after. So it stood for 400. It was 480 years, and it was only built 430 years after we left Egypt, minus 40 years that we're in the desert. So you're going to end up with 850. Okay, fine. Look at the chart. Amar of Acha Bar Yaakov Shmamina Meheiro Demari Alva Tamne Meya V'Chamish V'Tartan Havu. So Hashem sped it up. So we shouldn't get to 852 years. We should only get it to 850 years, and then we were kicked out of Israel. Yeah. Okay. Lefikach. So the Mishnah said, since Adam Arishon was created individually, Hashem didn't create 10 people at once, only created one person. Why? The whole world came from one person to compare the whole world to one person. And therefore, the Mishnah said, therefore, you're obligated to say that the world was created for me, for one person, because we are as important as the whole world. We're a mini world. So now a whole bunch of opinions why he was created as an individual and not with 10 other friends. So the heretics shouldn't say, if you're going to create 10 men at once, they'll say, there's 10 different powers. Each power created their own thing. This way, there's only one power created one person. Okay. Because of the righteous and because of the wicked, very interesting. You're going to have 10 men created at once. Some will be righteous and some will be wicked. Each person is going to think that they don't have a choice anymore. I don't have a choice between good and evil. Look where I came from. This way, he created one person who had a mix of good and evil. Each person has that mix, and you get to choose. And your life is made up of all your choices. Either we choose good or we choose evil. So, Davar Acher, a third opinion, family shouldn't say, oh, look what family I come from. So, people do that. But at the end of the day, trace yourself back. You all came from one. So, Uma Achshav Shenivra Yachid. Shlomo, can you wait till we finish, please? Thank you. So, yeah, Uma Achshav Shenivra Yachid. So now that one person was created, so Mipnei Achad Shenivra Yachid Mizgaros So Nifru Shnayim, even with one person was created, they're still fighting. But how much more so they would fight if there was two people created at once? Alachas kama v'kama, because of robbers and because of the thieves. Why? Because if everyone was created the same, you'd be able to know how everyone thinks. But now it's going on the fact that we're created differently. We're not all created the same. We're all created differently. So sorry, no. If we were, there were many people created, then everyone would be arguing. He fought over here. He took mine. He took your land. It all came from one person, and yet we're still fighting. But if Hashem created many people, then how much more so? How much more so would there be? Would there be fighting? Oh, one of my favorite. You're obligated to say the world was created for you. You have to. I have Adam Lomer.